College athletes need to be paid. College athletes need to be paid for their participation in intercollegiate sports. Many players cannot afford basic necessities on the scholarship funding provided. Despite the amateur status of the athletes, the NCAA and colleges, these amateurs play for make billions from their participation in intercollegiate athletics. The enforcement of amateur requirements for athletes by the NCAA is economically underprivileged athletes. Players need insurance and compensation for physical risks they may take while practicing and competing. The history of the NCAA. The NCAA is an organization with a long history of regulating intercollegiate athletics. It was created in 1906 to help address safety and fairness concerns in intercollegiate sports. Treatment of stars and regular athletes is different, with rules regarding perks and income associated with playing a sport. For decades, black male athletes were not allowed to play NCAA sports. The problem in the NCAA. One example is a player, former NBA player called Shabazz Napier, who played college at the University of UConn. And here's one of the quotes that he said: "Student athletes are utilized for what we do so well, and we're definitely blessed to get a scholarship, but without an income, many athletes are unable to buy food, gas, and other essentials." Despite the concerns it expresses about the possible detrimental impact of money on college athletics, the NCAA has gotten rich, as its participating schools on sporting spectacles and brought in almost $19 billion in 2019 across the United States. As you can see over here, the overall amount of money that the NCAA has generated and the different platforms that they've generated that money in. It also should be noted that the NCAA has not always championed fairness of social justice among athletes in early years. It also needs to be said that the NCAA often seems to show double standards when enforcing amateur standards and requirements it applies to athletes under its jurisdiction. Instead, star athletes are given only minor penalties when bending or breaking the rules, while athletes who are less significant in the sport or who are in less revenue generating areas of collegiate sport are often handed out severe punishments, including expulsion from their sport, which usually means the student loses his or her scholarship and ability to continue their education. One example of this is a player who played football at Baylor, and his name is Silas Nadeka, and he was playing at the university, not on a scholarship for football, and was having to live out of his car and could not afford housing. And the friends' parents offered to let him stay at their house, and because of that, he was named ineligible. Players need insurance and compensation. Health insurance is basic, does not cover long-term injuries after 4 years, no compensation or money if you can no longer play. Pros and cons. Concerns about the potential impacts of playing college athletes include corruption coming into the game through economic motivations, income for colleges being lost, as the cost of ruining sports will rise if athletes are paid, leading to many sports being eliminated, unequal standards of pay, the loss of control over the players if they are employees, with commitment rights. And then some of the pros: taking care of the economic needs of athletes will relieve them of stress and improve their emotional health and ability to focus on school and sports. Acknowledge the time they have to put into athletics through paying them for those hours will draw attention to the often generous amount of time they have spent practicing, traveling, and playing for their collegiate teams. Corruption of players will be reduced as they don't have a dire economic needs that may open up them to illicit gambling schemes and other illegal activities. Creating a reliable income for student athletes will help them stay in school, leading to more completing degrees, and will offer advantages to teams that can rely on having players throughout their undergraduate education. What is NIL? NIL is name, image, and likeness. NCAA colleges and universities made money off the student athletes in the past. Present players are now able to profit off their name. How? Players can only profit off commercials, endorsing products, signing autographs, use of social media platforms to increase their visibility. Here are an example of two athletes who are twins. They were able to use NIL to profit off of their name. Here are the top 10 NIL categories that athletes make money from. And then here are the top NIL opportunities, so how many offers that the athlete has. And then here is some of the football players, how much money they have accumulated through NIL deals. And then here's the top 10 colleges that have accumulated the most amount of money from. Is having a NIL deal enough for college athletes? It mostly benefits big name athletes. Non-big name athletes have to work harder off the field to create their brand. Around 520,000 students participate in college sports, and out of that, it is estimated 519,000 college athletes are not profiting off of NIL deals. The toll it takes on some of these athletes: smaller sports that generate little to no revenue have to compete against each other for smaller amounts of money, causes athletes to spend an unhealthy amount of time on social media, creating anxiety and pressure. It causes players to transfer to different colleges. For the 75 to 125 student athletes who entered the NCAA transfer portal following the college football season and are immediately offered cash, there are thousands of others who generally want to change of pace. The solution: while the NCAA has taken a first step in acknowledging the economic needs of student athletes through the introduction of NIL compensation allowances, these are not working for enough student athletes, nor does these changes offer the short and long-term benefits offered by acknowledging athletes as employees and paying them a living wage. If college athletics to stop profiting from the exploitation and vulnerability of student athletes, they must begin to be paid a salary, provided with the insurance cover and respect that comes with being seen as workers and paid accordingly. Thank you.